Hey guys, Trev from the Struggling Artist Podcast, and I want to talk to you real quick about Struggling Artist Record Club. The Struggling Artist Record Club is a vinyl record subscription service where I hunt and curate the best punk and punk-adjacent music out there and mail their record to your door each and every month. Imagine finding your new favorite band from across the country without ever having to leave the house. It doesn't get much better than that. The excitement of discovering new music just got that much easier. As a member of the Struggling Artist Record Club, you are going to receive some of the best music you've ever heard from bands you may never even heard of. Whether you've been collecting records for years or just starting out, the Struggling Artist Record Club is designed specifically for you. And right now, all new members get a Struggling Artist Record Club exclusive along with the monthly selection. So head to StrugglingArtistRecordClub.com, pick a membership, and start building that collection today.
Hey, this is Rev from the Drowns, and if you still believe in rock and roll, then keep the dial set here at the Struggling Artist Podcast.
You're listening to the Struggling Artist Podcast.
People need to be entertained. They need the distraction.
With your host, Trev Allen.
I wish to God that somebody would do something to block out the voices in my head for 5 minutes.
Welcome to the Struggling Artist Turntable for March of 2025. Three times a charm. With me today, Jeff Bousquet. Hello, Jeff.
Hello.
Chris is a little bit under the weather, so he will not be here. However, we have his picks to talk about, which is good. So, he must be past it. I even texted him a little while ago because I needed.
Poor Chris. We feel bad for Chris.
I know. Chris
not been able to catch a break lately.
No, he'll get there. He'll get back on his feet. He'll be good soon. Jeff, how are you?
I'll be good once it's not winter anymore.
Yeah, I know this. Are you just listening to like every day is winter here? It's not over and over, or
it's pretty much. I don't need to listen to it.
Yeah, I know.
I'm living it.
We're living it.
We're in the home stretch, but it always feels like the worst. This has just felt so long. I mean, for many other reasons besides just the weather too. So
right, but it's all bleak, you know.
Yeah, it's pretty bleak. And we got music to match.
Yeah,
this month for sure.
I worked last weekend and we had this snowstorm on Saturday, and I got to work. So what work does where I work is they'll give us a hotel room, and because we're emergency, so they can't just shut down anybody who's not emergency doesn't go to work, but we have to, so we get double time. So I went to work and I was like, I'll take the hotel room because I had someone staying with Tula. And Sunday morning I went to the hotel, slept till it was time to go to work, got up, went out, and my car wouldn't start. And now I'm standing, and now it's like raining at this point, and I'm like standing in slush, like it was over my ankles in slush, and I'm trying to get my car to start. Battery had spark. I'm like, I don't know what's going on here. Must be something else. You know, my boss comes by trying to help, and then he was like, you know what? Take the night off. Thanks. Call AAA. AAA says they'll call you within an hour to give you an estimated time. They called me 10 minutes later and said, we're not coming. I said, why? They said, because there's going to be an ice storm in a little while. And I was like, okay, am I supposed to sit with my car till the morning?
So your car's at the hotel at this point?
Yeah.
In the hotel parking lot?
Yeah. And
could you stay at the hotel another night?
I didn't have the money for that. So, you know, I had to get home. So anyway, my friend Kat came and got me, and it was a terrible ride home because of the ice that was coming down. It was just like nightmare. It's been a nightmare. Anyway, the car's back on the road. I can't believe
that tow truck, that AAA won't
yeah.
work they're an emergency
Right. They said I
service.
wasn't an emergency because I was in a parking lot. I'm
well,
like,
only
I
come
live
if you're, like,
I live
on the side of the
50
road.
miles away.
Yeah.
You know? So
Wow.
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
that's good to know because I have AAA too, and I've never had to call them in the middle of a storm, but that seems
Yeah.
like that's what you pay for. Like, that
Right.
sucks.
Yeah, yeah. And I've had them for years. And,
Right.
I'm just not happy with them right now. So like the last like 6-7 years they've gotten like really weird with things. Like it used to not be that way. So but I know if you use them too much, they'll cancel your service. They'll be like, "All right, you're not worth the membership fee because you use us too much."
Wow.
So that happened years and years ago. The reason why I've always had 2 cars is because one was always broken. I always had 2 beaters, right? And one was always broken while I was driving the other one, and then I'd fix the other one. Yeah. I have 2 cars now because I had a business for a while, and that one, and now both of my cars. Well, as of 3 days ago, both of my cars were broken still, and I was like, "Fuck!" So here we are. Yeah.
Man, that sucks.
I hate cars. I just hate them. I hate them. And it's like I can do things on cars, but I can't do like I don't have a lift. I don't know how to weld. So the 2 things I needed on both cars were not able to do. So anyway, it's been a troubling couple weeks for me. I've been quite upset and angry and pissed off at the world and fighting with people and like arguing and I'm like, this is internet arguing. Like, let's have a conversation. If we can't have a conversation, we're not going to talk. But anyway.
Yeah. Can't do that shit, man.
I know.
I don't argue with anybody on the internet. No way.
Yeah. I was having a conversation with one person and then they turned they all of a sudden they like flipped a switch and they started saying things I didn't say. And
I saw a great video recently of a YouTuber that I love that his stuff is all about like electronics and appliances and like electrical stuff and like how things work and whatever. But he made a video that is like for the first time ever in all of his videos that he's posted really like leaned a little bit political in the sense that it was talking about how like algorithms influence how we think and how like social media, the way that social media works right now influences how we think and like how the migration away from things like Meta owned apps towards these other like independent apps that people are starting to use now, like Blue Sky and Mastodon and Pixel. Like hopefully Blue Sky is going to be coming out with like a photo one at some point, but there's like Mastodon and Pixel Fed, which is kind of like the Twitter and Instagram of this new independent like suite of apps. And he was just saying how like it's a little more, it's moving back towards a social media platform where you control what you're seeing in your feed. So like even with YouTube, there's a specific subscriptions tab. So you subscribe to the channels you want to subscribe to, and then that's all that gets shown in that tab, and it made me really think about how how many of us that are of a certain age miss and like reminisce about like the days of MySpace and for me, LiveJournal. And one of the biggest things I was thinking about recently is how like what I loved about LiveJournal and MySpace was that the intent of it was to interact with your circles of friends.
Yeah.
And share like writing and images and like humor and memories and things like that. It was almost more of a scrapbook or a bulletin board for you and your friends and people you were friendly with and in your circles. And it was there was no advertisements. There was no suggest posts or feed of reels popping up in your face. And it really is weird when you think about how like your train of thought will change when you swipe to the next thing. And all of a sudden, like I open Instagram all the time, like I'm like, I need to go see the show flyer for this show and what time it was. And I waste a half an hour or an hour looking at other things because as soon as you open it, stuff starts popping up in your face that you automatically click on. So it was a really great video just talking about that. And I was just like, man, I miss like just going on LiveJournal and writing about my day and posting like 5 pictures that I host on Image, Flickr or whatever the other one, PhotoBucket. Embedding the pictures from PhotoBucket on my HTML coded blog and
I remember.
No arguing, no
Flickr.
talking about politics, no nothing. Just,
Yeah, I know, man. It's just like it's
just
it's
music
terrible.
and photos.
I've gotten my YouTube algorithm. Well, it's kind of screwy right now because of all the political stuff. But I had it to it was like cat videos, dog videos, Creed videos, and cocaine memes, and that was it. Like that's all I had on there, and it was like beautiful. It was funny and cute and cuddly and hilarious. And now it's it's a lot of things. But anyway, we are not here for that. We are here to talk about music that we're going to recommend for everybody. The way this works is we started this a few years ago, and what we do is once a month, we dedicate an episode on a Friday, usually for Bandcamp Friday. That's where it kind of all started. Not really sure what the state of Bandcamp Friday is at the moment, but we still do this episode, right? So that's why we call it the Turntable now. And when we sit there and we give off recommendations, each of us give a local, and then we do a X Factor criteria. Over the years, we've taken swipes at it. Each of us chose our own, and now we all put one into a pool and start a poll, and everyone votes. This month, transportation won, which was the one I picked. First one I've won since we started voting, by the way. So, yeah, pretty excited. Yeah, so that's kind of how it works.
I didn't realize that was the first one you won.
Yeah, I haven't won. I don't think I've won a poll one. Yeah. So it's okay. The people don't like me. I get it. You know, I don't like me. I don't like me either. So, anyway, before we get into our locals, Jeff, how everything been good though? I mean, I know winter sucks and everything, but have you seen any shows?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Lots of shows going on, and we'll talk about it at the end, as I think we always do.
We have shows coming up.
There's definitely like a handful of great shows coming up. I mean, by the time this airs, but there'll be, a few. There's some good ones in March and April and May. Looking forward to Pooza Fest. KCUF just did their annual show for Ken and Chris's birthday weekend yesterday, which was really fun. Saw Carrie Ann play last week at Faces. There's been a lot going on. I think the music's been the one thing that has been keeping us hanging on, and, and that's the thing, like, to go back to before the MySpace things, like, that was actually a really influential platform for music. And that's what made it so great. It was like how bands got discovered kind of before we had Bandcamp, and SoundCloud and streaming services and all this stuff. So, yeah,
it was definitely the very early on.
It was the first way for bands to have their profile online without needing to build their own website. So, we're the music is why we're here. So,
yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna take a quick break. When we get back, we're gonna hit up our local picks for March. We'll be right back. And we're back with our local picks. I guess I'm going first because I won. So my first pick, my local pick, he is no stranger to this show. Squally Green Thumb put out an EP called 2 Cookies and a Coke. It's like a David Lynch tribute kind of thing. I got the vibe from, you know what I mean? What he's doing though, before I even tell you about what this sounds like, is when he was on the podcast in December, he said he was doing this and he's stayed true to that. So, and he will for the rest of the year. This dude is just a monster when it comes to putting out things. Like, he just nonstop. He is doing a EP every month to support charities. And so this one, and I believe he said Marches will also go to the same charity, is for the trans resistance mass. So every month he's going to put out an EP, and he's been getting people to collaborate with him to do it, which is awesome. And they all go to good causes. So maybe we should just every month just mention what it is. If, you know what I mean? Mention it and throw it. I think, because remember we used to do like the charities, like, thing part.
And
we'll bring that back for this. I think where every month you're going to hear something about Squally's latest album that's out. So, So for my pick was Squally Green Thumb, 2 Cookies and a Coke. This one is super experimental. Now, I've heard Squally do industrial music before, but I feel like this is a little bit different, and I really, really loved this one. This is like 9 Inch Nails meets David Bowie. And I was talking with someone about that, and I'm like, yeah, I could definitely hear like the Bowie-ness to it. It's really good. I don't even really know how to describe it outside of that. It's like, other than being like experimental and just like, you know, like that David Bowie meets 9 Inch Nails. So you're getting like industrial David Bowie kind of, you know?
Yeah. I've said this before, but, I've said many times that my favorite thing about Squall is just his insatiable drive creatively to record and release music. And he does this all himself. He records everything as far as I know, most of the stuff he's done anyway. I think he produces and records himself. He's like a machine that cranks it out. Just cranks out music and he's done this before, where he's released something every week, every month, or every like so often, and he's done this marathon. And he always, you know, raises so much money for charity. And the second most impressive thing about Squall is his eclectic creative style, like his mixture of genres and like the diversity that you will see him perform. I mean, I've seen him perform, and it's sometimes is hip hop. It sometimes it's
folk.
Him with an acoustic guitar doing like ballad style, you know, acoustic tunes. And he constantly, like, you know, he changes it up both live and in the stuff that he records. And I'm just like, I'm always just like blown away by his like musical ability and repertoire. This was right on par with Squall. This was like an ethereal, cinematic, dark, sort of industrial, experimental record. I believe that's his partner Jackie on there with some of the background vocals. Loved that. Didn't know that was coming, and I love the mixture of vocal tracks they did in the harmonizing and like all that kind of stuff. So it's cool to hear Jackie in there. But yeah, that basically I wrote down. Just always impressed by the stuff that he comes up with. This was kind of like had like, you know, horror film soundtrack-esque vibes, and then as soon as you mentioned David Lynch, you know, that describes it quite well.
I think that because I think the cover is like a David Lynch kind of looking thing.
Yeah, and I also picked up on something this time around, that when Squall plays acoustic guitar and sings, his voice is a little bit of a mixture of like Billy Corgan and Michael Stipe in there. I can hear, and I don't know why I never really picked up on that before, but there's a 90s alt track like quality to his voice that I was like, I don't ever really picked up on this before, but I was just listening when I was listening to this record earlier today. I was like, he's kind of got like a Billy Corgan, like a mixture of like a Billy Corgan and Michael Stipe kind of vocal tone to his vocal tracks. So, and I know, I mean, obviously he's a huge 9 Inch Nails fan, and you can hear 9 Inch Nails influence all over his music, like everything that he does. So it's, fantastic record. Squall's a machine. Go check him out.
I just love
weedaboo.bandcamp.com.
Yeah, weedaboo. I just love his like ability just to like adapt to anything and be like, I'm going to try this. You know what I mean? It's awesome. It's awesome to like, it's almost like he doesn't want to be stuck in one lane, you know? Yeah, it's good stuff, man. And like I said, this one I don't know. It's reminded me of just like a David Bowie experimental kind of thing. I really, really did dig it. So be sure to check that one out. And all right, Jeff, let's do your.
So my local is a band that apparently I learned calls themselves or says that they're based in Berlin now, but they are from the Massachusetts. They all got started, as far as I understand, in the Massachusetts area. So I brought them as my local. My buddy Jameson showed me this band about a month ago, and my shout out to our old pal Evan, if he's ever listening to the show. Apparently, it was on recommendation from Evan. Evan used to come out to Pooza with us every year and hang out. He's a cool dude. But this band is called Elder, and I picked one of their records from a little while back because it was the first one Jim showed me, and I was driving when I was listening to it, and it was really great, which is Reflections of a Floating World. It's a big, epic,
Huge
metal record. Like only, I think, how many songs are on it? 6 songs, but it's over an hour long. So you got these big 11-minute, 13-minute epics. The longest one on the record is 13 minutes and 23 seconds. It just again, very similar to last month. The stuff I brought last month, but it just takes you on a journey, you know? And I'm so into just putting on big spacey epic metal and dissociating right now and just going somewhere else in my mind. It almost kind of takes you on a journey visually as well as emotionally and like musically. I think it takes you on a visually, emotionally, and visually, you know, as well as just the actual music itself. You get like these mellow parts, like clean rock parts that'll kind of start things out. Like that third, I think it's that third song on the record, Staving Off Truth. But it'll start out with like this sort of mellow rock, and then it'll start building, and then it'll just crescendo to these epic rage, you know, metal riffs and climaxes almost kind of in there. And yeah, just a fantastic record all around. I really want to dive into this catalog. This band has a pretty decent catalog. They've been around for a long time, like a good amount of time. Like 12 different releases on Bandcamp, but not all of them are, you know, full records. Some are live sessions and EPs and things, but yeah, they're a pretty impressive band. They sadly are playing a show in April that has been sold out for quite a while now at Sonia, I think, or the Middle East. I keep looking on StubHub to see if like any tickets pop up, but they have been quite sold out for a while. So it's kind of bumming me out because they're not playing around this area again for a while. They seem to tour quite a bit internationally and nationally. So yeah, Elder is the band, and Reflections of a Floating World is the record.
First off, I want to start like the album art for this is awesome. Like
yes,
it gives off like the music reflects that. No pun intended. Like I feel like we're in that world when we're listening to this one. It was a crazy mixture of like psychedelic metal meets like prog, which I was totally like, it was weird because like at first the first song I heard, when the vocals kicked in, I'm like, whoa, that's proggy as hell. And then there's some songs where the music's proggy and the vocals are kind of more metally. It's a really good blend of the two, if you ask, you know, but if you ask me. Awesome guitar solos in this, and like a range of instrumentals. I know this is like, I'm the word I'm about to use, I'm using it in a good way. Okay. It's a cacophony of sounds that walk like this weird path, right? So say like you're in a park and everyone just like, boom, they come out, they go their own ways, and then they come back in to each other. And then when they get to each other, this album, like these songs harmonize so beautifully. It was very, very, I just really dug that. Like it was like so disjointed, then all of a sudden it was in sync. You know what I mean? And like, and
it's right back together.
It was almost like it made sense, like the way they went around it, you know? And that's the only way I could think about it. Like while I was listening to it, I literally saw like a center point in like a park with like 6 people, and they all go off in different directions, but they end up at the same place. Right. Yeah. That's what this album, or what these songs on this album did. And it was awesome. I had a really good time listening to it. And yeah, I mean, it was just like, and every song had that kind of like format, right? That formula. So it was on purpose. But I like, you almost, at one point I was almost like, how are they going to come back around? How are they going to harmonize this together? And it just did, you know, like,
it's like I said, it takes you on a journey visually and emotionally, as well as just musically. Like, the thing about metal in general is that it can be hard to discern the lyrics. It can be hard to like make out what they're saying. And this one, unfortunately, they don't have their lyric sheets on Bandcamp. I always want bands to always put their lyrics, no matter what genre of music it is, like, just because like that's my favorite thing in the world is to like sit down with a record and like read the lyrics.
Yeah.
Since I was a kid and just figure out what they're saying. So with metal, it's oftentimes hard, right? Like, you know, there's screaming and there's like these sort of washy like effects on the vocals sometimes. So, and punk, and same thing with punk and hardcore sometimes because it's really fast. And so, yeah, I really want to know. I don't know if maybe on a physical copy of this record, if they have the lyrics,
if it comes
in there.
with it, yeah.
But to know kind of what the story they're telling here is it sort of a concept, a record of sorts at all, or is it really just a collection of songs that are, you know, kind of about different things? Like, I don't know that much, but it would just be really interesting to really dig into the lyrics just because of kind of where it takes you musically.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Loved it.
No, that was a good one. What was the name of the album again? It
Reflections of a Floating World.
That's right. Reflections of a Floating World. Yeah. And the artwork was awesome, you know.
Yeah, it's almost a mixture of like watercolor and like the Japanese, I forget what the name of that style is, where there's a lot of like ocean waves.
Yeah.
That very specific style. It's kind of almost like a mixture of the two. It's really neat.
Yeah, it was definitely cool. All right, so let's go with Chris's local pick from Buffalo.
Fantastic as always.
The band is called 9 Layers Deep, and the album is called Bummer Nation. I'll start with this one, I guess. I like this a lot. It's like I don't know what I was. See, when I start these albums, I don't like kind of look into it. I just hit play. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then we go from there. And this one, like, it was awesome. Like, it had this like hardcore meets like doom metal meets like stoner metal kind of vibe to it. And like I loved the vocals. The vocals were very, very different from what I've like from other things that I've heard in these kind of genres, you know? So, I was a big fan of it. I only had a chance to listen to it once, so I don't have a whole lot to say other than that, but like, I'm gonna go back. Like I started like I'm buying that one.
I love this. Their Bandcamp page says, songs about bleak, despondent rage, grief, and generational trauma, horror movies, and how AI can go fuck itself.
Hey.
But yeah, no, I loved this. Chris is just always, I mean, he really always nails it. Buffalo, as we've talked about many times, is a absolute fucking fire city for music. Has a great music scene, all over the place too. Punk, hardcore, metal.
Yeah.
I wrote down it's a ball. It starts off as a ball of screechy angry metal, with some hardcore parts, and also like some nods, and this was actually in both of Chris's picks this month, which I'm so bummed that he's not here because I really wanted to hear his take on it. But both of his picks, and obviously we'll talk about the second one, but had nods to what I feel like I would call like classic metal, like like early like 80s, 90s, like Black Sabbath, Metallica, you know, like metal that eked its way a little bit to the larger masses and mainstream that people were into. And they do kind of mention in there, I think they kind of had some. Did they have their? No, it wasn't this one. It was his X Factor that had some of their influences on their Bandcamp page, I think. But yeah, I wrote down like it's got some. It goes into these layered vocal parts where there's like kind of dense like multiple vocal tracks all in sync and like harmonies and stuff like that. And there's like some of the riffs and like kind of loop hook parts and stuff like that, where to me it sounds so reminiscent of like Metallica or like just like metal that kind of made it a little more into the radio sphere in the 80s and 90s. And so it had that kind of classic sound. But yeah, I like this. Bummer Nation is a fantastic name. I think I said that immediately when Chris shared it. And yeah, it's just lyrically highly relatable. And this one does have all the lyrics on their Bandcamp, which is rad.
Yeah, this was really good. And everything you just like the way they describe it is perfect. Like that's exactly what I was getting from. You know what I mean? Like, just that was a good one, man. I wish he was here to talk about it because
Chris nailed it as always.
Yeah. All right, let's take a quick break. I need to refill my iced tea, and when we come back, we will have our X Factors. We'll see you in a minute. Bye. Hello, we're back. We're back with our X Factors. I'm not as energetic as today, and I apologize for that. We're just gonna run with it. We're gonna run with that. So, So our X Factor pick was the criteria that won was transportation. What were the other two? What was yours?
Oh my gosh, I don't. Yours
was growth.
I don't remember.
Yours was like plants or growth.
Plants. I think it was.
Plants,
yeah.
And then Chris's was Irish, which was very like
from March. Yes.
Yeah, stereotypical, I guess. So, Jeff, you and we had to do a tiebreaker because between we tied on both. Did we tie? Yeah, we tied on both Instagram and on the Patreon. So we did a tiebreaker on Instagram, and I edged out and won. So plants would have been a pretty cool one.
Maybe it might have been more challenging than transportation too. But.
Yeah. So transportation was the one. You know what's funny? My pick wasn't even any. Like mine was roads. Which you need to right? You need roads to.
I mean, I think it worked out great because all three of us had no problem coming up with transportation themed music.
So so my pick, and I don't know why I picked it. I think at the time I had a moment, or I don't even know why I picked transportation. So maybe I was listening to Squally's other album there. The Dead Take the Orange Line or whatever.
Music and travel do go hand in hand. So.
Yeah, true. That is true. Yeah. So. And honestly, my pick kind of feels like a road trip in a way. So, out of Austin, Texas, Dylan Disaster in the Revelry, All Roads was the album that I picked. It's anthemic melodic punk that packs a punch. So it's like slightly harder than most melodic punk. You know, it's got a little bit of like in your faceness to it.
Yeah.
There's something about when you add an acoustic guitar to an anthemic punk that it just like, I don't know. It gives me something like it gives this little extra element to almost like I thought of like a coming of age movie with this. Like, and I've said that before about albums. I feel like this album, and I would have to really dive in, like really dive in to it to all the lyrical content and kind of see if there is a story here. But like, it feels like you're moving along in this story and like it's like a coming of age movie. You know what I mean? This was one that I am surprised I didn't put it on my list of best of 2024. Because I knew about it then. I just kind of, I don't know when it came out. It kind of slipped my mind.
It came out in May.
In May, yeah. So it kind of slipped my mind.
Yeah.
It kind of slipped my mind as we went along with the year. But this was a really good one. I've discovered this one because of the Record Club member Dave, who writes me a review every month.
Awesome.
He posted this album and I was like, what is that? And I talked to him about it and I went and gave it a shot and I'm like, oh, this is so good. And then I was like, I'm going to buy it. And then I never did. And then recently, my buddies in Our Brains Hurt, their podcast, sponsors of our podcast, by the way. They were discussing their picks and this came up in both of their picks. So I was like, oh, I forgot about that. So I went back and listened to it and then I bought the vinyl right away. And I have it on vinyl. It's really cool. It's like they call it like a bone or something. It's like a black and like white, like skeleton bone kind of looking thing, you know, it's pretty cool.
Sick.
Yeah, and like the cover's really dope. It's just like a picture of the road.
It's a sick colorway. Yeah.
The who recorded the album, Pete Steinhoff. Did I say his name right? Steinkampf.
Yeah.
Steinkampf. He it has his style on there. You could tell, like, you know what I mean. Like, he has a very specific style of recording music, and I always can tell when it's something that he's done. Super good, man. This was really good.
Yeah.
Again, I really felt like this coming of age kind of thing going on, like a growth of, human growth within the album itself. So definitely check this one out.
So this is a great record. 12 tracks on this record too. It's a long record. And this was one of the rare times. I often don't, when we share our picks with each other, we typically do it in a group text, and we link directly to a Bandcamp. And if the band doesn't have a Bandcamp, the next best thing, whether it's Spotify or SoundCloud or just their website or whatever. But I oftentimes don't look much at the cover art right away. Sometimes we embed links to each other and it shows the cover art, and sometimes it doesn't. For different reasons. And so this was one of the very, very rare cases in which I pulled it up on my desktop, I think the first time I went to listen to it, and just looked at the cover before I listened to the record. And I very much thought it was going to be something very different before I even read anything about it. The cover does lead you to think maybe it's going to be a very like Americana, folk rock, Western influence, rock kind of record, or a folk country record, all country type record or something like that. And of course it is not that at all. So I went into this expecting it to be one thing, and that first song hit in and I was like, oh, whoa, this is totally different. This band hails from Austin, Texas, right?
Yep.
I believe. And they hail from Austin, Texas, but this record to me has Jersey punk and Jersey rock and roll all over it. And then I was like scrolling through it and I was like, they did it at Little Eden. So the fact that Pete did this, it makes perfect sense. You can hear nods to like Gaslight Anthem, Bouncing Souls, just that, like you said, sort of melodic punk, but with a little gritty, like,
there's some
punch
grit
to
in
it.
there. Yeah.
It's like Jersey rock punk and roll, as I would kind of call it.
Yeah.
It's got those big sing-alongy choruses, like nods to the sort of mid-late 2000s emo and pop punk stuff that was really popular. I think you can definitely hear influences in here from bands, like kind of like the Bouncing Souls. It's a banger of a record. Absolutely polished, gorgeous sounding mix. I mean, it's really, really fun.
And it's one like you listen to all the way through. Like you don't
dense, long listen to.
Yeah.
A good 12 tracks that go all through, and it's road music. It's in every way it's road music.
And I guess like if you look at the cover, it's like you're looking through the windshield, right?
Yeah.
It's not like just a picture
that's
of
the
a
whole
road.
the whole vibe.
Yeah.
And like you got songs with titles like Riding Shotgun and Well Traveled and The Wreckage and Away We Go. It's a very much a kind of road inspired album. And this one has the lyrics as well. So I encourage you to people to go through and read, but it's a record you could easily put on while traveling in any capacity. But great record. Love this band. Definitely want to dig more into this band. They have a few prior releases too I want to check out. And this one was really fun. That's about all I got to say about it.
Yeah, I know. It was a good one. Yeah, it was definitely a good one. All right, Jeff, what about your pick?
My X Factor was similarly appropriately named. It's a band called Motorbike. They hail from Cincinnati, Ohio. So a little shout out to our old pal Mike, who doesn't do the show with us anymore, but used to be on the show with us. Who's out in Ohio. Don't know if he knows this band or not. But they hail from Cincy, and the record is called Kick It Over is the name of the record. The whole record is not released yet. It releases in a week or two, I believe, but they released a single off of it, Currency. So that's what I went with for my kind of official pick, just because we were running a little late with the short month. But I wrote down it's twangy, gritty, energetic rock with some nods to sort of British rock and 80s punk in there.
Yeah.
Is what I hear.
Like that garage. That's that garage-y,
that British garage
tone.
Guitar tone. It's got these fast, twangy guitars and this really like rolling kind of energy. I mean, I didn't have a ton more to say about it. I listened to a little bit of their prior record and very similar vibes, but just like a fun, fast, energetic, kind of gritty sound that, again, just, lends itself to riding the motorcycle imagery is all over it.
Yeah.
And it seems to be with the rest of the songs on the record too. This one was, again, a really cool random find on Bandcamp's main browse page, which is like one of my absolute favorite things to do when we do these X Factors is just
you're really good at just snagging.
Go open it up and like look through shit and just see what looks cool, what sounds cool, what has cool album art. It's really fun. Supposedly so it's going to release fully on March 21st, and the first 500 copies are on a black. On a single black vinyl, and they're gonna do. It looks like they have it's just a CD. I was gonna say they looked up they had a red one as well, but
I don't think this would. I honestly, I think black. This on black will lend to what the sound gives off for a vibe.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want this on like hot pink or red or yellow. You know what I mean? I love my color vinyls, but like this is just it's. I don't know if you could make a color that would fit this vibe.
True, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Maybe red. I don't know. But their tagline goes like a white knuckle. It says like a white knuckled ride through the haunted moor. Motorbike returns triumphant. Jerry's collarbone has since set, but the dust is yet to settle. 5 players, 10 tracks, enough RPM to kick off your old lady. This is their second record, and apparently one of them broke their collarbone. I don't know, but it says a true group effort to let the cats out of the bag and onto tape. Raise your glass, pump some gas, kick it over.
I like that. So like, dude. They're leaning into it. I love that. These
guys they seem like the type of dudes that will do shots and party hard at the bar with you. Just play like fucking face melting rock on stage. And love the cover art. It's like a cool oil painting of a dude on a motorcycle, and it looks like it's a super fun record. So
first and foremost, I'm gonna say I listened to this one song and I'm gonna buy this album. I'm probably gonna buy their other album. Like this one song sold me, all right, so this is gritty, real gritty. From the opening melody, I felt like I was on a motorcycle, not a speed bike like a Kawasaki Ninja bike or not even like a polished up like Harley. I'm talking like this song makes you feel like you're riding a dirty old pieced together Frankenstein monster of a bike that's loud and powerful. Like I was going to the meanest and roughest roadhouse bar around to stir up some shit. Like that's
here we go. This is channeling some Chris Chavez review energy.
This is what this one song made me feel like. I was like the baddest biker around. And that's just it. Like it's called Motorbike. Like I don't even think the imagery I was getting in my head through this was like they don't call them motorcycles, they call them bikes.
Motorbikes.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And dude, this was gritty as hell. I loved this. This is like, remember when we've talked about like Roadhouse rock? Like this is like hard rock, Roadhouse hard rock. Like this, I would hear this. Like, I feel like this would be something playing on a jukebox while there was a fist fight going on, in a dusty, dirty fucking bar. Like,
and the motorbike thing is kind of goes with that nod to the British, rock too, because I think that's more of a British term.
Motorbike,
but they really nail it with the genre spot on.
Yeah. I mean the mental imagery I got from just this like 2.5 minute song was phenomenal.
Yeah.
I'm pumped. Yeah. I can't wait to hear more. That's all I got, but I feel like that was that was a lot for one song.
They say on their Bandcamp page that this was supposedly recorded in a basement in Cincinnati too. So whoever's recording this in their basement knows what the hell they're doing. It sounds fantastic for being recorded. Yeah. It's like a good studio whatever they've got set up there. So
yeah.
Cheers to these guys. Yeah. Definitely going to keep an eye out for
I am going to buy this one. I'm going to go check out their other album tonight too, and I'm going to buy that as well. Good stuff. Now, oh no, I didn't get the name of the album from Chris's.
Oh, Chris's. Well, it's a perfect segue because Chris's X Factor was the best name.
Oh yeah,
it was Jesus Christ Muscle Car.
Yeah, what was the album?
Their EP. Their EP is called Underground Monsters. That you picked.
Yeah. This one was awesome. This is hard rock metal from like the late, from like the 90s and early aughts, the stuff that didn't end up being new metal. Like this is what that other stuff was.
Right, which is why I said both of his picks this month kind of had similar nods to that classic metal sound.
Hell yeah, it did. Yeah, this is stuff like the guitars in this, like they were awesome. Like I called it stink face guitars. Like this is the ones where when the guitarist is like really feeling it, and he's like, you know what I mean?
Everyone else that's listening to it just has that face on.
Yeah. This was really good. This was another awesome pick. I wish mine picks. I liked my picks a lot, obviously, but they were like your guys' picks like fell in line with each other so well, and mine just kind of was like the guys in the back corner. You know what I mean?
No, they all gelled I think they all gelled pretty well this month.
Yeah, man. Oh man, this was something that I would discover on the radio growing up and be like, this is awesome. And then I'll be like, have you ever heard of Jesus Christ Muscle Car? Like to my little buddies, you know?
Yeah.
Oh man, it was it was good. I loved it instantly. Like this, like I love when music hits those nostalgic chords and you're instantly like brought back to a time, and like it feels so like it just sounds like this would be something if someone was like, there's no good music anymore. I'm like, you haven't heard Jesus Christ Muscle Car yet, pal. You know what I mean?
I wonder if it's a play on Jesus Christ Superstar or something like that. Like I don't
it has to be.
But it's fucking fantastic. I think we segued perfectly from Roadhouse Rock to Desert Rock. So this on their Bandcamp page, they have for fans of or influenced by the likes of Clutch, Mastodon, Graveyard, Red Fang, Black Sabbath, and a handful of other words. And again, I think both of Chris's picks, this one too, nods to that, like I was saying, Black Sabbath, Metallica, like the metal, the kind of what I would now call it classic metal, like the classic rock metal that just kind of leaned more into the zeitgeist as classic rock.
And their artwork is phenomenal.
Yeah, the artwork I will say on this one does not. Again, the artwork on this one, I don't know. It doesn't necessarily evoke it. It could be a totally different genre when you look at this.
Yeah.
But with the font and the whole thing, I have to wonder, and the 70s kind of style fonts, I have to wonder if they're going on a play on Jesus Christ Superstar here. But damn, like this just nailed it. Hit it the nail on the head. It's fast, it's angry, it's energetic. I wrote down epic desert rock riffs with metal screams throughout, nods to the heavy rock and stuff of the 90s, late 80s and early 90s, that more general made it into the alt rock world, and just a fucking name to match the sound on this one. Like, so great. These guys hail from Portland, Oregon. So
Portland, Oregon. Yeah. I'm looking at all the names of the bands that you mentioned, like they write that they're influenced by.
Yeah.
Dude, and they're all over the place. Like, I love that, you know? Oh man, this was a lot of fun. I wonder, do these guys have vinyl?
This does not appear to be available on hard copy. No, all right, this one seems to be digital only.
Here's the deal, folks. Okay. I've only heard this one 3-track EP, but you can get their whole discography for $14.30. Go buy this. Go buy this. This was so good. I can't. I'm a big fan of this. I can't wait to hear more of this.
It does
stuff.
unfortunately look like this EP came out in 2022, and it is the last or most recent thing that they released. So hopefully they're gearing up for something cool to come. Because I hope these guys, haven't called it quits. Because a lot of times we don't know. We find bands and we don't know them personally, so we're not really sure. But these guys rock.
I wonder how Chris. I need to know how Chris found this one. You know what I mean?
I mean, not that he doesn't always nail it, but he really nailed it this month, and we're really sad he's not.
All right, so for $14.30, you're gonna get. Hold on, you're gonna get two studio albums. Is one a live album? 2 full-length studio albums. You're gonna get a live album, and then you're gonna get this EP. Totally worth it. Totally worth it.
I agree.
Oh man, this was so good. These were good picks this month. I had a lot of fun with your guys' picks, and totally looking forward to what we have next month.
Yeah, totally. I got a couple on the back burner that are coming, I think, so for local picks, but we'll see.
Yeah. All right. Cool. All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we will close up shop. We'll be right back. All right, we're back. It's time to go. As always, it's a sad moment, but we have things to do. Coyotes to slay. I'm kidding. I'm not killing a coyote. I try to pet one before I.
Go.
It's time to go. We're not gonna do picks for next month. We're just gonna throw the poll up when it's time because Chris isn't here to give us his pick for the X Factor for April. So. With that said, Jeff, what was your favorite album this month?
Ooh, oh my gosh, I wasn't even really thinking of it.
I don't know either.
It may lay in between somewhere. It's between Chris's 2 picks this month, I think.
Yeah,
they both had a sound that was just real familiar to me, like nostalgic, like I said. And they both did it differently. Like 9 Layers Deep leaned more into the punk world a little bit to me. And Jesus Christ Muscle Car leaned more into the the desert rock, like alt rock metal world. But they both had nods to it, to similar era, and yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm between Chris's 2.
I'm kind of stuck between those 2 and Motorbike. Like Motorbike really impressed me with with the one song, But yeah,
people with one single that says great things about your band.
Yeah, so I'm probably gonna lean towards that because it was one song that did it. Yeah, I was a big fan of it. Every pick was good this month. It's very rare that there's something that one of us doesn't like. So it's usually me who doesn't like it. So I'm a miserable asshole.
We're the kindest naysayers you'll ever hear review a record. We'll straight up be like, I don't like this record, but let me find one good thing to say about it.
I know. Yeah. Well, yeah. So tell me, like, what do you've got? Anything to promote?
There's a little bit of an underground show happening at live from Trev's house. It's a little bit of an Ask a Punk scenario, a good old fashioned, hello fellow kids. Do you know where the rock show is happening? No cops allowed. And
I'll fight a cop.
No shitty people allowed. But if you're interested, it's Saturday, March 22nd. It's myself, your friends in hell, and Coffin Salesman. And
starting early, 5:00.
It's at Trev's house.
Yeah, at my house. Come have a fun. If you're around,
come have a fun.
Yeah. Other than anything else, you got anything else coming up? No. Me. I'd say go check out Squally's Bandcamp page and pick up his albums that are designated to charities. Dude's doing a lot of good stuff. Check that out. Head over to our Patreon, patreon.com/podcast TSA. Check that out. See what we got going on. We got stuff there for members. New, different podcasts that aren't this, we have Struggling Artist Radio. Every contributions usually go to help us like with events and stuff like that, which everyone gets to become like a producer of by being a patron. So, join the record club, strugglingartistrecordclub.com. That's still a thing. Let's keep it going.
I would say also, in speaking of not necessarily charities, but if you're in the North Shore area at all, there's a new venue over in Salem called Moonbase One, which is the old Shagall Pack, but it's been taken over now by Ali from Cape Crush and a couple of other folks who have been doing some great things over there, booking shows. It's very, very small. There's no bar or anything attached to it. It's just a kind of a one room. And so it's a all ages sober space, which is really cool. Cause I went to a show there recently to see Billy, the kids made me feel old, man. They were windmilling and fucking spin kicking and slam dancing and shit. And I was like, oh man, this reminds me of like the good old like mid 2000s hardcore, post-hardcore shows at like VFW halls and
Billy's really good.
Youth centers and church basements and all that kind of stuff. So it's got that vibe to it going right now, but it's got a nice stage in PA. And so they're just killing it over there with shows. So go check them out, support them, go see a show over there. They're trying to get, a new venue group off the ground and kind of expand it. And it's in the middle of an artist market that'll be really cool in the summer when it's all open. And, you can walk through the whole artist market and also go see a show here. So
that's awesome. Yeah. Yeah. I got to make my way over there. Check out a show. I've got an episode dropping with The Promised End as we're recording this, like tomorrow. It will be out by the time this is out. And, I think James, Ali, that's Ali's partner. Yeah. So, we talked about the new venue a little bit too. So,
awesome.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah. All right. Well, check that out too. If you're in the Salem area or North Shore area, we love you guys. We'll talk to you next month. Jeff, love you, buddy. We'll see you soon, I hope.
Hopefully Chris is right as rain.
He'll be good. He'll be back. See you later.
Peace.